this came up when I've been reading free agency lists over the weekend, and I was listening to the show. All these shows are kind of running together, but one of the past 3 shows. And when you're talking about the running back market, I'm not suggesting the Eagles are going to change their strategy here, but there's a lot of free agent running backs, a lot of like really good free agency running backs, and they're leaving teams that are not just going to like shuffle this big name running back for that big name running back. You know, for instance, if Derrick Henry leaves Tennessee, it's probably because they're going to turn to Tajay Spears, so a cost-controlled option. And you go on down the list here. There's going to be really good players on this market, and the market might be depressed, and the Eagles might see this as an opportunity. So I think you mentioned, again, it might have been yesterday's show or a different show, if they can get so-and-so for a 1-year, $2 million contract, I think were the numbers you put out. But let's expand that. Let's say someone like Derrick Henry is lingering on the market, or Tony Pollard, who has a history with Kellen Moore, is lingering on the market, or Ezekiel Elliott, who has a history with Kellen Moore, is lingering on the market. Do you think this is a position where the Eagles might turn to a veteran free agent, which they signed Rashad Penny last year? I know that, but he didn't really play for them. They haven't really had a veteran free agent as their top running back since DeMarco Murray, Ryan Matthews. Otherwise,
how'd that work out?
Yeah, true. Although Ryan Matthews was more productive than people might remember, and he was actually their top option that year. DeMarco was not. They didn't think they were going to get DeMarco, but I bring this up because we talk about the way the Eagles view running back, and most likely they look for a trade or a draft pick, and I get that. But do you see a world where they say, look, there's some good players here at prices that fit within our framework. Let's sign Derrick Henry, or let's sign Tony Pollard, or I don't think Saquon Barkley will be within that budget, but do you think that could happen?
I think it could. There's a lot of supply on the running back market this offseason, most likely. Even like, Nick Chubb could get released as a cap casualty. And there's, as you said, I don't think probably enough supply or demand for teams willing to sign those guys to big contracts. I think this is something where they're like going to monitor it as the first week of free agency goes on. And if, I don't know if Derrick Henry is the right person, but if one of those guys drops to a reasonable price range for them, I think it makes some sense. Now, I don't know what their internal evaluation of DeAndre Swift is.
Sure.
The other thing here is I'm curious if you think that Kellen Moore's experience with Ezekiel Elliott would make them more interested in a bigger back than they've had in recent years.
I don't know if I would say that. I don't know. I think a back who can catch the ball out of the backfield, and we saw that with Pollard 2 years ago. We saw that with Elliott throughout his career with Moore. But I don't necessarily know if I would say a bigger back, but you certainly can't rule it out, and the Eagles don't have that type of back. So maybe a bigger back who can catch. And, I mean, Elliott didn't look great in New England last year. Didn't look bad, but didn't look great. So I don't know about Elliott, but yeah, I think or maybe you pair Derrick Henry with a back who can catch. I think Derrick Henry makes more sense in a team like Baltimore or something like that. But I know the way the Eagles view running backs. I get that. There's just so many starting running backs who are going to be on this market. Like Austin Eckler, for instance, is someone who now he didn't look the same last year, but he's someone who.
The truth is, the history of free agent running backs is
exactly
very bad. Right?
But if you're looking at a 1-year deal, I'm just saying the market's going to come to you at that position. That's right. And the Eagles clearly, let's say they keep Swift. Let's say,
I think what they want there is explosiveness.
Okay,
and maybe Swift is the guy who gives them the most of that. But I think that's what they're looking for.
Now, you more than me have been on the when you sign Cowboys or Giants or Commanders, it doesn't work out, right?
I mean, it really doesn't.
Yeah, and the history shows that. But Tony Pollard. Do you think that could be a player there?
I just think that they're unlikely to be the team that values him the most.
They're unlikely.
They're unlikely, yes.
Okay. Even with the background with Moore. His best season came with Kellen Moore. Okay.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
You think they're unlikely because he's a Cowboy or because it's the running back position?
No, because it's the running back position. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay. I see April in the chat says Alvin Kamara is perfect for the Eagles. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be like he might be a cap casualty too. So yeah, I think the Eagles are going to have options at running back this year. And when you look at and we'll get to free agency in the first week in March, but when you look at kind of the free agency list, it to a certain respect, it shows you why as you made the point on the show the other day, Howie Roseman's history is drafting offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and cornerbacks, because there are a lot of running backs and wide receivers and safeties and linebackers on the free agent market. It's much harder if you're looking for a starting left tackle, you don't really find that on the free agent market. If we're assuming that Brian Burns and Josh Allen, maybe even Bryce Huff are tagged, you're not really finding top edge rushers on the open market. So some of these positions that you can sign in free agency are the positions that the Eagles don't traditionally value in the draft. And I think there's a correlation there. I think the Eagles often look at the delta between the rookie contract and what you'd pay for a premium player at that position.
We all silly like the mayor.